What is going on, everyone? I'm back. My break was yesterday, and I got a lot to talk about, starting a fresh new week of streams, including, surprise, DSP Throwback officially launched yesterday with new content, even though I hadn't really planned it or scheduled it out. And I want to talk a little bit about how that went on today's show. In addition, we've got gaming news and even more cool announcements. So, I hope that you're ready, because it's time for a new week and another episode of the Level 1 Podcast. All right, good morning, everyone. I'm Darkside Phil, and welcome to the show. Today is Friday, the 5th of January, 2024, and I'm back. Yesterday was my day off from streaming after quite the eventful week, first week of the new year, and I had a pretty good day yesterday, which we're going to talk about on the show today, but, wow, there is so much going on right now. In fact, I'd argue this is one of my more eventful years to start, I would say. And what I mean by that is, usually around this time of year, January-ish, right? There's just not that much going on. It's a slower time of the year. It's not until February, March when a bunch of new releases start coming out. But this year, I've got so much going on, all at the same time, that it just feels like we're surrounded by activity and action, right? So much going on. I'm very busy. I'm literally juggling thing after thing after thing here. And I'm trying to keep it all organized and spaced out in my head so that I basically don't lose track of everything that I'm doing, because it's a lot, just to say the least. Working on this documentary behind the scenes like I have been for a couple of months now, and starting to get the wheels turning on that, launching, or I should say relaunching, a YouTube channel, pretty much out of nowhere because you guys didn't expect it. And now having that going, and other things. As we're about to talk about today, I have something else that is happening that I'd like to talk about and get you guys excited for this week. Yes, this week something else is happening too. So I know you guys, what? I know. Usually it's like, well, Phil's just going to stream a bunch of games, right? Right. But in this case, we got so much else going on. It's really exciting to have that level of activity on top of all the usual stuff. It's not like, oh, well, this, because Phil's working on this or this, and now he's not doing this. No, actually, all my streams are continuing as usual, but we got all this other crazy stuff going on as well, right? I mean, ultimately, I hope it's all going to pan out. You know what I mean? Like, I hope that all this effort and all this time and work being put into stuff is going to turn into something good. We're going to talk a little bit about that this morning, because we're going to talk about DSP Throwback, which had its launch yesterday, even though I hadn't really hyped the launch, or I didn't even know when it was going to happen. You know, I wasn't even aware that the first piece of content would actually be ready to release on that channel yesterday. So I'm excited for that. So there's a ton to talk about today, guys. There's just so much going on. There's also some game news. So if we can squeeze that in along with all the other topics that I'm going to talk about, great, right? But I don't know. I honestly don't know if we'll be able to. Let's see what happens with all the stuff that is going on currently. Obviously, one of the major factors right now is I want your feedback. And what I mean by that is, as much as it is, you know, me having ideas and working with people and getting these new initiatives going, you know, I want to hear from you, the audience, because you guys are ultimately the ones who all this content is for, right? It's not just for me to sit around and stare at my own stuff. It's for you. So obviously what I would like is your honest feedback on everything going on So if you could, on a podcast here, share your opinions in the chat. When you're watching these new videos on a new YouTube channel, leave comments. I really need to know your thoughts on everything, because that helps me. When I get that feedback, that criticism, right? As long as it's constructive, it allows me to try to listen to your opinions and improve, as opposed to just assume everything is going well. I want to know. I want to know what you really think, okay? So I guess what we should briefly do is just recap what I did on Wednesday, all right? Then we'll do the Phil's Day Off segment, all right? We'll talk about my day off yesterday. And then we will get into the stuff from this week, because I want to talk about DSP Throwback a good chunk of the show today, because it has launched. There's content on it. If you're not aware, there's 2 gameplay videos, and it looks like if the pacing stays the same way it is, there's going to be at least a few videos a week over there of my old playthroughs that are now being remastered and re-released for public consumption in the modern day. So we're going to talk about that. Of course, like I said, if we get to gaming news, and then I've also got to tell you about some other cool stuff going on this week. So anyway, let's start at the beginning, shall we? So Wednesday was a great streaming day. It was my final streaming day of the week. Being that it was the first week of the year, a lot of people were excited for the new content. Played some Baldur's Gate 3. Well, first of all, what I should say is, on the podcast, I announced that I'm going to be having a documentary made on me, right, by Mike Klum. And I gave as many details as I possibly could at that point without basically spilling the beans about all our plans. If you want the full skinny of everything that I basically can say about that right now, go watch the podcast from Wednesday morning, which would have been January 3rd. That'll give you as much details as I can give you right now. People are asking me specifics. I can't give specifics. Number one, nothing's filmed yet. We're actually in the planning stages of that. That's number one. And number two, I'm not going to tell you everything we're doing, because that would be spoilers, right? What's the point of filming a documentary on me if you already know what's in the documentary? All I can tell you is there will be stuff in that documentary you've never seen before. First time stuff that absolutely you should be interested in. It doesn't matter if you're a fan of mine, a hater of mine, somewhere in between, or maybe you've never heard of me. I think it's still going to be an entertaining documentary for everybody involved. So many people have heard the name Darkside Phil or DSP and like, I think I know a few meme references about that guy, but I don't know much about him. This is my story, okay? So that's that. The thing is, I don't really want to talk anymore about that right now, only because there's nothing to talk about. Like I said, if and when more stuff is coming out, all right? And I'll let you know, because there's going to be planning stages, there's going to be filming, and obviously days when I'm filming and stuff, it's going to affect the schedule. I'm not going to be able to stream on days when I'm filming, or it might be like a day where they're actually filming here as I'm working, or it's a half day for me where I can only do one stream because the other half of the day I'm filming or whatever. That will be coming probably in a couple of months. Right now, everything is business as usual for a while, and I'll let you know when it's going to affect things, okay? So there we go. So anyway, so that's in process, and I announced that, and of course, the whole internet is abuzz about that, right? Everybody, oh my god. And then I started more Baldur's Gate 3, and that was a great stream because we finished off the Goblin Camp, which we've now been in for like 2 streams, and we finally wrapped it up. We did the final boss fights there. Accidentally killed Minthara, or Minthala, whatever her name was. I guess she's supposed to be a companion that you can get later in the game, and I killed her by accident. But I told you guys, I'm living with my decisions in this playthrough. If I make a mistake, I'm living with it. The only time that I'm not living with it is if there's some real nonsense. Like, there was one case where I was in full stealth mode. I was not detected by anybody. I saved, and I lockpicked, and the game says, they saw you lockpicking. No, they didn't. There's literally no one there. And people are like, oh, well, what must have happened was there was an audio cue from across the room, and I was like, enough. I'm reloading. That's bullshit. Sorry, I'm not putting up with that nonsense where I'm using every mechanic possible in the game, but there's some weird nuanced thing the game never explains. I'm supposed to magically know that like a psychic. Sorry, that's dumb, and I'm not going to be having giant consequences now because the game has this ridiculous thing to it. The mechanic that's not in any other video game ever, right? But if I make a mistake in the middle of combat, or I make a dialogue choice and it leads to a bad outcome, I'm keeping it. That's the genuineness of a first-time playthrough, is you live with the consequences of your actions in a major way. I don't want to have this be the save scum playthrough of Baldur's Gate 3. What's the point then? If you're just aiming for the best possible outcome, there's going to be no variety, no shock, no fun. So I'm sticking with it. So I accidentally killed this character. Oops. She ain't coming back now. So I guess we're not getting her later in the game, right? So after that, we actually continued on with the plot. We had the big celebratory thing at the Emerald Grove, and now we're in the middle of a party with the Tiefling. So we have to finish this party. And then here's the cool thing. Again, I want to thank you and emphasize that the reason that this playthrough is working and is going well is because of you and your engagement. I got a bunch of comments on the videos over the last couple of days saying, hey, Phil, before you go back to the Underdark, because you said that's where you were going to go, there's more stuff to do. If you head westward from where you had fought those gnolls on that particular road, you're going to find a building, you're going to find a bunch of lore in there, and I think that continues the plot line. Remember, there was a chest that we found inside of a cave, and it said, don't open it, return it to the owners or whatever. That's where that quest is. So they said, do that first. Don't go to the Underdark and continue there until you did all the questing content, and there's more you missed. I was like, thank you. I didn't know that. I thought that we had done everything on there's no marker there, you know, so I didn't realize there was more to explore. We're going to do that today. So I'm excited for that, and again, thank you guys for showing up, engaging, and supporting the Baldur's Gate 3 streams. I think someone was counting, and they said literally every Baldur's Gate 3 stream that I've done, we actually hit the level 2 tips goal too. And the thing is, I'm not counting, but I guess every single one we've had like a hat reward, or if you remember the other day, actually the scarf, I put on my Slytherin scarf from Hogwarts. So thank you so much for that. Wasn't expecting that. At this point now, you know, we're over 30 hours into the game, and we're still in Act 1. I am being told we're approaching the end. Like, there's this content, and then there's basically the Underdark, and that's kind of the end of Act 1, so maybe within another week or two, we'll be done through Act 1 and heavily into Act 2 before we get to the new releases coming out this month. But I'm enjoying it. I'm having a good time, and really I feel like it's because of us and our interactivity that this playthrough works. If it was me playing it by myself, it probably would be boring. I'd probably be very frustrated with some of the game mechanics and things that aren't really well explained in the game for a first-timer like me. But because we're having this slow learning process, even the mistakes I made end up being hilarious, and then people enjoy it, so that's a good thing, right? So thank you, and I can't wait to continue on more. I actually want to see what happens today as we get further westward for more questing and everything. Like, I'm riveted. I'm excited to see what's next in the game. Then on Wednesday night, I had my second session of Sea of Stars. This was a game that won Indie Game of the Year at the Game Awards. Now that I've played 4 hours into it, man, I can tell you, this is a mishmash of so many classic JRPGs from the 90s. So there's definitely Chrono Trigger influence. There's definitely Super Mario RPG when it comes to the gameplay mechanics with the timed button presses. Then there's Suikoden in the art style. I actually feel like the art style is more like Suikoden than anything else. And then now I'm getting more vibes of like Golden Sun and other RPGs because of the way in the environment there's like these puzzles you solve to actually like platform around and stuff. Boy, my webcam has gotten super choppy. Why? Why is my webcam so choppy? Look at that. The frame rate's atrocious. I don't know why. There's no reason. It says my CPU is only like 20%. I have no idea why my webcam looks like that. What sucks about it is I can't even like fix it during a stream. I can't mess with it because if I do, then I have to restart all my software. Like here, what if I just go to like, hold on. Now that's, oh, whoa. Now that's way low res. See that? But now you notice the frame rate's better. So at least that kind of refreshed the camera. Okay, that refreshed it. So now let me see if I go back to full 1080p if it looks better. Because right now the frame rate's great. It actually went to the 30 frames it's supposed to be. So now let me see if I go back to 1080p. Oh yeah, I fixed it. It totally fixed the issue. It's better. Look at that. Okay, good. All I had to do, I had to go to a low res and a high res, and it fixed the frame rate. Cool. All right, never mind. There we go. Now I know. Now I actually know a workaround there. Okay, anyway. So Sea of Stars, I feel that like it definitely has some really cool aspects of Golden Sun, because I played the Golden Sun games on the Game Boy Advance back in the day, and basically those games have a lot of exploration in like an environment. So if you're working around the world, you knock this over and it creates a platform, then you jump here and use an ability here to push a block, and it does that. And basically it looks like this game, Sea of Stars that is, has that mentality, that mechanic, and I like that. because it's not just walking around fighting. There's other things to do. They're looking for optional items and optional areas, and that's pretty fun. So far, we're 4 hours in. Last time around, we had an epic boss fight, which was really cool. Basically, it was kind of the end of the tutorial area and heading into a new part. The game does have some unique mechanics, too. Like, it has its own mechanic where when you hit enemies, they drop these little mana crystals, and you can absorb those mana crystals, and basically power up your attacks. So you can have better magic, better melee attacks. I like that. It's something different that I haven't seen in a game before. So not only is it mechanics from other JRPGs I'm used to playing from the 90s, but it has these new mechanics as well that make it feel fresh. So I'm loving Sea of Stars. I hope that you'll check out more. There is more coming this week. We'll get into the schedule in a little bit. So Wednesday was a very solid streaming day. I had a lot of fun, okay? Yesterday was my day off. Now, what we're going to do is a Phil's Day Off segment, but the interesting part about the Phil's Day Off segment this week is that not only are we talking about what I did on the day off, but also what happened on YouTube on the day off, which I didn't know was going to happen, but did, and it worked out really well. So yesterday was my day off from streaming, okay? And basically, my wife and I wanted to have a very relaxing day if possible, all right? Just to give you guys an idea. So we've had a very stressful, month. Every day off, we have to go out and about, do a million appointments and things like that. And then last week, we had a lot of other stuff going on. We didn't really have, a day to ourselves in a very long time. So we decided that yesterday was going to basically be a day to ourselves once I got through some of my usual, kind of chores and just normal routine things I do, like grocery shopping. There was a lot I had to do yesterday. I had to get gas in the car because we had almost no gas. And I noticed that gas prices actually went down a little bit. For the first time in ages, gas is under $4 a gallon here in Washington State. It always has been almost $5 a gallon, and it looks like it did dip a bit. Maybe that's a good sign. Maybe not. I don't know. Obviously, lower prices are always a good sign, but I don't know if that's a sign that things are turning in the economy or not, and that prices are all going to go down. Or it would be great if they did, because I'm tired of spending so much money when I go grocery shopping, that's for sure. So I got gas in the car. I went grocery shopping. I got some pet supplies. I returned something because my wife had ordered something online and it didn't work, so I returned it to be sent back. So I did a whole bunch of stuff, right? I did a ton of stuff while I was out. And then when I got home, basically, we decided that we wanted to finish Far Cry 6 together. She's been playing it for a couple of weeks now, ever since it hit Game Pass. That's been the game that she's playing. And we beat it, but man, I had forgotten how much of a grind the end of the game is. So, she's trying to do the final 5 or 6 missions, and every mission is just chock full of very stressful combat, annoying Ubisoft bugs. You know what I mean? Ubisoft has these stupid things. Game freezes right in the middle of a mission. Oh, start it over. What? Not even a checkpoint. No, just start the whole mission over because our game froze. Oh, that's nice of you. Thanks a lot. Wonky aiming, just weird stuff. And basically, we got to the end of the game, and she was so stressed out because she'd been playing it for over 2 to 3 hours of just constant heavy combat and everything. And so she's like, "Can you beat it?" So I said, "Yes." And I grabbed the controller and I did the final building because she got to the end twice, and died at the end. And then it makes you do the whole building over again. Great, thanks for the checkpoints, right? 0 checkpoints in the final segment. So I'm doing it, and I'm playing this final segment. This is so stupid. I forgot about the end of Far Cry 6. It's been over 2 years since I played the game. I'm in the final segment, and all it is you're climbing this big building to try to get to a penthouse area where the final boss is, right? And basically, as I'm fighting these enemies, more enemies are spawning on top of the other enemies out of thin air. I'm not kidding. So there's enemies heavily armored. I'm shooting him, and as I'm shooting him, another enemy blinked himself into existence and came out of his asshole. You can't make this shit up. He birthed the guy right there in front of me. What the fuck just happened? They couldn't even bother to have the guy walk in a door. He actually just blinks in coming out of his butt. I was like, the game is so stupid. I mean, that's every Ubisoft game, right? Every Far Cry Ubisoft game follows the same formula. It's the same wonkiness, the same feeling of man, there's a lot of polish missing here, and you never really know what's going to happen. And sometimes you could even argue that's charming. The games are so weird. You'll have some weird physics thing where a guy will float away, and, the zaniness of the games is funny. But at the same time, when you're trying to finish the game and the game's just being annoying as shit, enemies birthing other enemies in front of you, it's disgusting. You know, it's stupid. So, anyway, we got it done. And she liked the ending better than Far Cry 5, but she didn't like the ending. She's like, it was fine, but why is it that at the end of Far Cry 6, they don't actually show, like, the land is now at peace, and now there's elections, and I said, well, they can't do that because they want you to endlessly play this game. So at the end of the game, when you beat it and the revolution succeeds, there's still insurgents in the land or the country of Yara. That's where it takes place. So you still have to keep playing if you want. I mean, it's an endless game. It never really ends. Just there's more people to fight endlessly. And I said, if it actually had a real ending where there was peace and you actually did defeat, you know, the regime, then you couldn't endlessly play the game, right? The game would just end. And then that, you know, that's not what they were going for. They want the ultimate sandbox where you play endlessly. And she's like, yeah, well, that kind of ruins the ending. I'm like, you're right, it does, because it makes you feel like you played the whole game and there's really no resolution to anything because you don't know what's going to happen. And she's like, was there ever an expansion DLC? No. All they ever released was a DLC where you play as the bosses or the antagonists from Far Cry 3, 4, and 5. Like, that was the DLC they released for it. They literally never went further than that with the game to have any kind of, like, an addendum story DLC. They just ended it right there. So we finished Far Cry 6. For dinner, we actually had Thai food again. We had actually had Thai food on Christmas Eve, and it was a new place that we had ordered from that was so good. We ordered from them again. It was so good. We each got some, like, this cashew noodles or something like that, it's called. It was super good. And that was really, you know, nothing to write home about in regards to the day off too crazy, except for the launch of DSP Throwback, which obviously I wasn't expecting. I didn't know that was going to happen. I had told you on Wednesday that DSP Throwback was in process and that hopefully by the end of the week we were going to have some video content for you on that channel. When I say we, it's not just me. It's an editing team, essentially, that's working on this. So for those who don't know, maybe you didn't watch the podcast from the last week, I have rebranded one of my old defunct channels that used to be called KO Gaming, but it's been defunct for over 5 years. I rebranded it as DSP Throwback. This channel is now going to be a way for me to preserve old content of mine from over a decade ago. You know, those old style playthroughs that were done with a camera pointed at a TV, before there was direct capture, before there was live streaming. When back then, when the commentary was irreverent and very, very immature, and it was for a younger teen audience, because today, I have less than 1% of my viewers are teens. I'm not kidding. That's the demographics I get on YouTube. Teenagers don't watch me, okay? Back then, they absolutely did. Like, almost all my viewers were teens back in the day. So, my commentary was definitely very different. A lot of people would say today you wouldn't even want to do that kind of commentary. You'd get canceled, right? But back then, it was a kind of the wild west of YouTube and the internet, and you could say whatever you wanted, and people loved it. So, I rolled with that for many years, probably like 3-4 years straight. From when I started until I started doing the direct capture live streaming, my commentary was pretty over the top, okay? So, no, Bookworm, I'm serious. My teens are 1% of my audience. Do you want my demographics right now? I can actually pull them up right now. Watch this. Hold on. Watch this. So here we are. Analytics. Audience. You ready? So, my biggest group of viewers is people ages 25 to 34. That's 50.7%. My second biggest group, 18 to 24-year-olds, 19.8%. My third biggest group, 35 to 44-year-olds, 18.9%. My next biggest group, 45 to 54-year-olds, 5.7%. My next biggest group, 55 to 64-year-olds, 2.1%. My next biggest group, people older than 65, that's 1.7%. My smallest viewing group, 13 to 17-year-olds, 1%. Yep. I have more people over the age of 65 watching me than people in their teen years. You see? And that's what I tell you guys. My content is not for kids. It's just not. It was at one point, but what kid wants to watch a 40-some-year-old play video games in a way that's very different than how all the other top guys do it, right? Today on YouTube, it's just this one style that everyone uses, and everyone's kind of copying each other, and I don't do that shit. I do it very differently. I'm the more organized, more professional, schedule kind of guy, organized playlists and everything, you know, like clockwork. I'm here, and a lot of people think that's ridiculous that he acts like that. Whatever you say, but hey, I get the job done, right? So, yeah, so anyway, the content I make today is not for teens, but back then it was very different. So here's the deal, is that a lot of my videos either, number one, look and sound awful. You know, they're from an era when I had a digital camera pointed at a television in a dark room, bad lighting, bad audio, you know, everything looked terrible. A lot of these things, they're strobing and the lighting is always off and it just looks terrible. The commentary is good and people like it and think it's funny, but essentially no one wants to watch that in 2024. You know what I'm saying? That's number one. Number two, a lot of my game playthroughs from back in the day have been lost. Final Fantasy 13, Red Dead Redemption and its expansion, Undead Nightmare, LA Noire, among others, they're just not available on the internet for various reasons. So, the idea of DSP Throwback is to take that content and represent it to a modern audience in a better way for posterity purposes. So, for example, taking the original video that looks terrible and running it through several upscaling filters to not only improve the resolution but improve the frame rate, to take out a lot of the awful echo of the audio and make it sound better so that you can actually listen to it and not have it just like resounding booming echo in your ears. And also to improve the length. Those videos were only around 10 minutes long. Now I'm putting them together so it's like 30+ minute long videos, properly putting thumbnails, titles, playlists, making it so that that content is digestible to a modern audience who's used to that level of stuff, right? So, I'm excited for this channel because I think that people who maybe have never saw my original stuff will now actually be interested in watching it because it's going to be better for a modern audience. It's not going to look like crap. You're not going to feel like you're in some cave with me carving stones of my playthroughs. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I'm not inventing fire here for you to watch Final Fantasy 13. Instead, it actually looks like kind of a normal thing. So, it's a lot of work. It is. So, for example, for a 30-minute video, it could take upwards of 5+ hours of work. Because not only are you editing the videos together, you got to run them through all these filters and everything. So, it takes a long time to get one of these ready. So, I didn't know how long realistically it was going to take to get content on the channel. The good news is some of the stuff went well, and we cleared up some of the issues early that we were nervous we were going to have. And so some of the videos are ready to go already. And so I launched my very first video, Final Fantasy 13 from 2010 PS3 edition, but now newly upscaled, better visuals, better audio. Part 1 went live yesterday morning over on DSP Throwback. Now the thing is, I didn't get to hype it up because I didn't know it was going to go live. So it's not like I talked about it on a stream. It was just kind of a willy-nilly thing. So I posted it on my X account and I posted it on like my main channel pages so some people would know and would check it out. I'm pleased with how it's gone. So basically, in a day, it's gotten over 2,000 views on a dead channel. You know what I mean? Like, that's good. For a dead channel to have 2,000 people check out the video is pretty darn good. And obviously, it's going to get more views over time as well. Overall feedback seems positive. People are just happy to see the videos back. To see that the Final Fantasy 13 playthrough was lost for ages. And to see it finally come back, people like it. The opinions are very split about the improvements. First of all, across the board, everyone likes the video being longer. It's like a 30-minute video instead of 10, 10, 10, 3 parts. People are enjoying that, for sure, okay? But when it comes to the visual quality, basically, some people are split on this, okay? Because basically, when you're upscaling and you're adding frames, it looks like it's between 45 to 60 frames. It's not always a smooth 60. It's not going to be, because the game doesn't run at 60. It runs at 30. The video is at 30, okay? So, basically, you're adding AI frames to this to make it look like a better frame rate. There's definitely ghosting in the video, okay? That's really unavoidable, because the camera I was using at the time was a very crappy digital camera. In fact, it's funny. a few, um, a few parts in, like I would say, I think it was like 4 or 5 hours into the playthrough, I actually went and bought a new digital camera. And then I started using the new digital camera, and the visual quality of the playthrough actually improved. So what you'll see in future parts of the playthrough, hours in, is that it's going to look better. But the earlier parts, sadly, are just not going to look as good because it was this crappy camera that already was blurry and had ghosting and things in the movement. So even upscaling and everything, it still has the ghosting, and there's not much that can be done. Like, we tried to remove it, you can't get rid of it. So yeah, it is what it is. But it's still, I would say, visual-wise, it's crisper. You can actually read the text and stuff, which it's not blurry anymore. The audio definitely sounds better than it originally did. It removed a ton of the bad echo that was always in the background of those videos that made it sound like I was playing games in a bathroom or a cave. And the commentary is exactly the same. Nothing has changed. Already, people making comments about, oh my god, I can't believe he said this, he said that. This is a playthrough from 2010. This is 14 years old. I outright say right at the beginning of the playthrough and in the description of every video on that channel, this is not representative of the commentary and beliefs that I have today. This is from a bygone era of YouTube. Back then, anything flew. Any commentary on these videos was irreverent and was for a younger audience. It's not representative of who I am today. That's why it's that old of a video, right? So there you go. Some people love it. Some people don't. It's not for everyone. That's the thing. This older style of content, some people are going to love it and be like, wow, it's old Phil. And I remember back in the day how all his content used to be like this. And then other people are like, oh my god, I can't believe that that's how Phil used to be. I'm so offended. So there's going to be a mix. That's fine. There was always going to be a mix of reactions there, I felt. I would say, overall, people are happy to see it back. It's not perfect, right? It definitely doesn't look like direct capture, okay? It's not going to. It's essentially the best you can do with a 14-year-old video that was filmed with a crappy camera pointed at a TV. When I was making content back then, it wasn't monetized. It wasn't intended for a business purpose at all. It was just to mess around, right? So why did I care if it looked good or not? I'm just dicking around, and if someone watches it on the internet, great, and if they don't, oh well, who cares? But today, obviously, I'm trying to make something more presentable. It's tough when you're working with that crappier quality original content, okay? So that being said, part 1 went live, and some people liked it, and other people's don't. And there's not much you can do about that, right? We've done the best, essentially, that we can with that source content. So what's going to happen is, we're going to attempt to put out a few parts a week. I'm not sure exactly of what the pacing will be. Again, it's not me doing the editing. So it's essentially how, I have to upload all these original videos. People are working on them behind the scenes to run all these filters through and then get them up. Will it be one a day? Probably not. I'm thinking maybe a video every other day or something like that. Even if the thing is, again, I don't want to overpromise and underdeliver. I don't want people thinking, oh, Phil's going to put out a video every day like clockwork, so that playthrough will be done within, a month. No, I don't want to say that, because then I feel like people will be expecting that, and if we don't live up to that expectation, people will be disappointed. The goal is to try to get a few videos up a week of about a half an hour in length. So every week you'll have, maybe an hour or two of new Final Fantasy 13 to watch. Now, just so you know, that playthrough's lengthy. If I remember correctly, I want to say that playthrough was like 200 parts, but they were 10-minute parts. So if you do the math in your head, right? So 200 times 10, divide by 60, then to the exponential, right? Let's just briefly do the math. Like I said, I'm pretty sure it was 200 parts. All right, so if we do 200 times 10 minutes, and we divide by 60, the playthrough was around 35 to 40 hours long, okay? So if you do the math there, you're like, well, wait. Well, if each part's a half an hour, and let's say you're uploading 3 to 4 a week, it's going to take a long time. You know what I'm saying? And this is what I was telling you guys. This is kind of what I was getting at, is that once I start getting this content up, this is going to take a long time to get through. This is not just, Phil's going to just mass upload his old stuff, and immediately these playthroughs will be visible on YouTube. That's definitely not the case. So we'll see. I mean, even at the best case scenario, let's say I'll video a day, right? Even then, it's going to take over a month. You understand? Even then, it will take over a month to get Final Fantasy 13 online fully. So I hope that you understand that, okay? Like, it's not this thing. It takes so much work to edit and do all of it that it's going to take a while to get the videos up, okay? But, you know, I will let you know along the way with the progress and stuff like that. And we're going to go from there. So hopefully you'll give it a look. Again, it's youtube.com/@DSP Throwback. That's the new channel. It's rebranded. It's the old channel from 6 years ago, but it's been completely rebranded. Today I added big disclaimer and description on the channel so you know what it is. Has new logo, new channel art, everything's refreshed, and I created a playlist for Final Fantasy 13, and FYI, Part 2 is live. It went live this morning. It's only been live for like an hour and a half. I have no idea how many views it has on it because I'm not looking. So here's the plans for the channel, okay? I want to upload, if possible, you know, a few videos a week to the channel, if not maybe one a day. I mean, ideal would be one a day. I don't think that's possible. I don't think that rate will keep up. I do feel like it's going to have to be slower than one a day. I don't think that we can do that, but we'll see, okay? And what I need to do is I need to try to get that channel back into getting regular viewership, because what I want to do is partner the channel again. It was partnered for a long time, and then YouTube changed their partnership criteria, saying you needed to have a certain amount of uploads in a certain amount of time. You need to have a certain amount of public watch hours in a certain amount of time. And once you have those qualifications, then you can monetize your channel, okay? So I'm hoping that if we're getting regular content up there, right? If we're doing 1, 2, 3 videos a week, correct? If not more. Like, let's say we're doing more, 4 or 5 videos a week or whatever, right? Whatever. Here's hoping that I'll be able to get that back to the monetization status sooner rather than later. And as I've already told you guys, this is not me turning that channel into memberships and super chats and stuff like that, even though that's part of it. I mean, that comes with it. No, my goal on that channel is just to be able to put ads on the videos. That's it. So now you're watching the new playthrough that a lot of work went into, and a few ads play on it, right? Or if you're a YouTube Premium subscriber, I get credit for that as if you watched the ads even though you didn't, which is great, just to make a few bucks on the channel. I'm not looking for this channel to blow up in popularity. I don't think it ever would. I think this is very much kind of a posterity-style channel. Let's preserve the old content that, number one, is not visible at all. Because right now, like I said, Final Fantasy 13, Red Dead Redemption, Undead Nightmare, the Suicide Kings Online Co-op, and LA Noire currently are not visible anywhere. So I want to get those on that channel first. That's like step 1, okay, to get all that content on that channel. But then, if there's enough demand and people like the content, and they're like, wow, could you do these improvements to all of your classic playthroughs? Then likely what I would do is take the content from my original Dark Side Phil channel, which many of you have never seen, right? Most of you probably never saw that content because it's of a bygone era. It looks crappy. It sounds crappy. And to have all of that upgraded. Imagine having the original Spider-Man Web of Shadows playthrough, right? The classic Resident Evil playthroughs that I have over there, right? All that stuff could be upgraded with the better resolution, better frame rate, longer videos, thumbnails, and have all that represented on DSP Throwback in a modern way. And that will let it be visible again. Right now, I feel like there's zero visibility on that Dark Side Phil channel. It exists as an archive, but no one watches it, right? No one ever goes back and watches those videos. It just kind of sits there dusty. So this is a way to kind of spruce those up and make those videos enticing again to a new audience, right? So I think that would be the idea. All right, now let's see how this goes. Let's see with the Final Fantasy 13 playthrough, and then likely whatever we do next, maybe we'll even do a poll on the channel. Would you prefer to see Red Dead Redemption, LA Noire, Undead Nightmare, Suicide Kings, you know, or other things? Because there's other videos too. Like, what would you prefer to have on there first, and then you you vote and we see what's next, okay? I'm not expecting this channel to blow up in popularity. At most, I would think the videos on this channel will get like 1,000 views. I'm serious about that too. And it's crazy because part 1 of Final Fantasy 13 already has 2,400 views. It hasn't even been up for 24 hours. I thought it would have a few hundred. I'm serious. Like, I thought it would have a few hundred views. I didn't think that people were going to care so much about it. And apparently you guys cared more than I thought. But then again, it could be just because it's new. It's new, so everyone wants to check it out, and then they move on, right? But as long as this has an audience, then it's worth the work, right? And again, hopefully within a week or two, if I keep pumping out videos on there and you keep watching them, I'll hit the watch hour criteria, and then I can at least get it back in the partner program and get some ads on the videos, okay? Not that it's a big deal. Not that I'm going to make a ton of money on these. Part 1, I can't monetize anyway. Part 1 has the song and also has this intro. Part of the intro of the game has been copyright struck all over the internet. So no matter what, if you play Part 1 of Final Fantasy 13, when you start the game, you can't monetize it. So Part 1 will never be monetized anyway. It would just be the future parts of the playthrough. So give it a look. Let me know what you think. And I want your honest feedback. If it's not for you, that's fine. All right? The content is of a bygone era. The commentary's different. The visual quality is going to look very, very weird at first because this is a camera upscaled. You know what I'm saying? So, but I want to know what you think. And hopefully, it's something that eventually will have an audience and people will like it. And if people want to see my classic content represented, I have it all. I literally have all the hard drives from my original content back in the day. We found them last year, and I could literally re-upload all that content and have it all be done in a better way. So, DSP Throwback is live. Give it a look. 2 parts of Final Fantasy 13 are live and more coming. Please check out the channel, youtube.com/@DSP Throwback, and give me feedback. I need feedback on the channel. What do you think? Do you have ideas for the future, right? Now, I also said some cool things we could maybe do in the future. Maybe every once in a while, if I have a random night where I'm just kind of, I don't want to do something different, I could do a stream on that channel. Again, once it's monetized, I could do a stream on that channel where we interact and we talk about the old days of YouTube. We can field questions where people can ask, what was it like back then? What was your mindset? You know, how was it like recording? Stuff like that. We could have like just a chill night talking about it, and that could be a special stream for that channel. It's appropriate to that content. Or another idea I had is eventually, once we have enough gameplay on that channel, I could watch my own playthroughs from back in the day and do commentary on them now. Like DSP reacts to old DSP and cringes at the commentary, right? That could be pretty cool too. So that's my ideas for the future of the channel, but that's going to take a while, right, to get to that level. It's not something you can do right away because the channel needs content first, right? So there you go. All right. So please give it a look. So that all happened yesterday. The channel launched and everything. And I'm not even here, right? I'm not even on a stream to hype it or anything. So hopefully now that I've talked about it on the podcast, a few more of you will check out the channel and enjoy it. And that was that. So now let's briefly talk about the schedule for the week. And then we're going to jump into probably a little bit of game news. And then, the usual shout out to Q&A and the like. Okay? So schedule for the week. Looking like a great week of streaming. First of all, today, it's more Baldur's Gate 3. As now, like I said, we'll probably head westward and explore this area that I kind of missed out on. I guess people are saying there's like a building that has something to do with that chest that we had found in the mission. So I think that makes sense to do that first before we go back to the Underdark. But yes, eventually we are going to go back to the Underdark. And then go from there. So that's cool. Tonight on the late stream, it is Friday Night Fights Street Fighter 6. And on the late stream, I'm returning to E Honda. Yes, actually last night I watched like a 30-minute E Honda video. And I watched how, some people using E Honda. And I'm going to use them again tonight. I haven't used them in many, many months, right? It was like the summer, the last time I picked E Honda. Well, I'm going to use them tonight. So tonight it is Friday Night Fights, the return of E Honda to Street Fighter 6 at 6:45 p.m. Pacific time. So I hope you'll join me for that. That should be pretty fun. Okay? Then tomorrow, it's going to be more of Resident Evil 0 Remastered, which I started playing back on Monday. Was it Monday? No, it was Tuesday, right? The premiere was on Tuesday. And I really enjoyed the intro, although I'm happy we're out of the train, because I think that the mansion setting is really where classic Resident Evil shines. And the train was kind of more annoying because it was too confined. So now we're in the mansion and we're going to be exploring. It's going to be good. I hope you guys will join me for that tomorrow on the main stream. And then tomorrow night will be the continuation of Sea of Stars. The good news is because we finished both lingering playthroughs, both RoboCop and Like a Dragon Gaiden last week, now we can focus on these newer games all week long. So Resident Evil 0 Remastered and Sea of Stars on Saturday. Now, Sunday, okay, I am not going to be doing a full day of streaming. Sunday, it's going to be the podcast and my React show over on DSP Reacts. That's my weekly React show on my React channel. No live stream on Sunday night. Why? Because 2 reasons. Number 1, I'm going to be filming private patron videos. For those who pledged to my Patreon this month, I want to be sure that I get those videos done as soon as possible, so I'm going to be doing that. But in addition, I'm going to be preparing for my year-end series. I need to get all this stuff together, added to, like, I need to do the countdowns, I need to get the videos together, queued together, so that I'm ready to go on Monday and Tuesday nights, okay? So, yes, please bear with me that I'm not streaming Sunday night. Hopefully after that, I will be streaming on Sunday nights for the rest of the month if everything goes according to plan, okay? Monday, more Baldur's Gate 3, and Monday night, it is the most disappointing games of 2023 countdown here on DSP Gaming. It's going to take probably around 90 minutes to 2 hours because I'm going to be going through at least 10, if not more, games that I found very disappointing in the last year, and I'm going to outline why exactly they're disappointing. Now, this is not the worst games of the year. People always get this confused and say, oh, these are the worst games, right? No, no, no. These games very well could have been good for the most part, but they could be disappointing for a valid reason. Like, there was this one part that really should have been different and it was really messed up. Maybe the game had tons of potential and didn't live up to the potential. Maybe the game was way overhyped and ended up not being nearly as good as everyone said it was going to be. So stuff like that. And so it's going to be a great countdown. People look forward to it every year. All right. And that's going to be Monday night. Then Tuesday, it will be more Resident Evil 0 Remastered. And then Tuesday night, it's going to be your viewers' choice best playthroughs of the year countdown, followed by my Game of the Year awards. Okay? So Tuesday night, it's the other half of my year-end series. The first hour is your picks. The second hour is my picks. Okay? And then my content, basically that's the end of the year-end content. We'll get it done. It'll be there, and then we can move on to full playthroughs. Now, Wednesday, my final streaming day of the week. Okay? I have an announcement to make. Wednesday's daytime stream will be Baldur's Gate 3. All right? So I hope you'll join me for more Baldur's Gate 3 on Wednesday. But Wednesday night is a very special stream. It's very special. It's something that you guys are going to be very excited for, I feel, and hyped for, and something that's been in the works for a while. Okay? I'm not spoiling it. I'm purposefully not going to tell you anything else. All I'm going to say is you're going to want to be here for Wednesday night's stream. That is literally all I'm going to tell you. That's it. I'm not going to spoil it in any way, shape, or form. Okay? What is going on? People are saying there's an idiot in here? Who is it? Guys, who are you talking about? Because I don't know who you're talking about. People are complaining about a troll in chat when I'm trying to make an announcement. It's pissing me off. Did we get him? Hopefully we got him. I missed it. Okay, let's continue. So, let's try this again. Oh, there's 2 different ones? All right, let's get rid of these idiots then. Let me get rid of them right now. Okay. Sorry, because obviously I'm into the podcast. I'm paying attention to the podcast. So people have to fucking try to derail, of course. All right, so let's try this again. On Wednesday, January 10th, my late night stream at 6:45 p.m. Pacific time. You are not going to want to miss it. If you can be there, you're going to want to be there live for that stream. And that's all I'm going to say. That's it. Already we got people speculating in the chat on what it's going to be. My lips are zipped. I'm just going to say it's a special stream. You're going to want to be there. That's all I'm going to say. Okay? Fair enough? All right. So the end of my week, my final stream this week, will be a very special and interesting one for all of you. I hope that you will join. All right? Cool. And then for the rest of the month, basically, the next 2 weeks is going to be me focusing on all these games. Baldur's Gate 3, Resident Evil 0 Remastered, Sea of Stars, a little bit of Street Fighter, and then depending on how much time we have on late night streams, maybe something else quick we'll have to see because it really depends on various factors. But I really don't want to start up anything crazy because at the end of this month on the 26th, we got 2 hype new releases, Tekken 8 and Like a Dragon Infinite Well. And once those start, those are going to be my major focus for a bit. So I don't want to get into too many playthroughs and then we have lingering ones. So we'll have to see once we get through this stuff, you know, and go from there. So correct. That you're absolutely correct. The BBC, the British Broadcasting Corporation, is also doing a documentary on me. So there's actually 2 documentaries going on at once. No, that's not true. That's not true at all. How dare you say that? Okay. So anyway, what a week. What an exciting week coming up, right? So, potential that there's going to be more videos on DSP Throwback. At least a few more this week, we'll see. I'm not guaranteeing every other day, or every day or every other day, but there will be more content over there, okay? And all my gameplay streams are continuing as normal, right? Which is excellent. And a special stream at the end of the week that you absolutely are going to want to be there for on Wednesday night, okay? So, excellent week coming up. See, I keep telling you guys, this is a crazy year, man. Like, there's so much going on right now, and usually there's, like, nothing. And January is usually, like, the slow month. For me, this is, like, the busiest month of the year. I'm literally not playing any new games, really. I'm juggling games that I missed in 2023, but I got so much going on outside of that, on top of everything, that it's just zany, crazy stuff, right? So, it's good stuff, and I hope that you guys will join me for all of it. It should be a good time, all right? Good stuff? Okay. Guys, it's time for my favorite segment, your favorite segment, and everyone's favorite segment here on the show. It is time for DSP News, also known as DSPN. And I have a few quick news stories to cover for you today. News story number 1. It is absolutely official. Steamboat Willie, Mickey Mouse, is now considered public domain. Meaning everyone can now make content with the old black and white steamboat driving Mickey Mouse. So already there's horror movies in the works, video games in the works. Some of the most uncreative minds on the planet have come together to make stupid content because something hit public domain. So if you thought that Winnie the Pooh movie last year was awful, oh, just you wait. There's going to be worse content coming from, you know, creatively corrupted, bankrupt people. Okay? So go for it. Enjoy that crap. It's so dumb. Anyway, that was just a fast one to talk about. So, according to industry insiders, okay, Nintendo is fully working on the new console that they're going to release, and it's going to be called Switch 2. Of course, that's not really the real name, but essentially it is the next console after the Switch. However, from industry insiders who have actually seen this console for development purposes, they're basically saying it will likely be a new iteration rather than a revolution. What does that mean? It basically means that Nintendo is not trying to reinvent the wheel or do something crazy creative this time around. They basically just want to make a more powerful console of what they already have, which, honestly, for me, I have mixed feelings about. All right? Every time that Nintendo releases a new console, okay, basically, they try to do something innovative. With the Super Nintendo, right, it was better graphics, a revolutionary controller, every game having the ability to save, stuff like that, right? Well, not every game had the ability to save, but they all had the built-in capability. If you wanted to, you know, the game developer could put that in there, actual game saves on the cartridge, which was rare back then. You know, Nintendo 64, first controller to ever have a thumbstick. It innovated the entire gaming industry, right? GameCube, a portable console that looks like it belongs in your 5-year-old's toy box, but it was kind of revolutionary having tiny little CDs. Also, that controller was kind of interesting and revolutionary with the way the buttons were laid out and stuff like that, right? And then you had the Wii, which is the first mainstream motion control console ever. And then you had the Wii U, which was just a fucking steaming pile of shit that no one wanted. That was a screen, a weird screen that you could have in your hands instead of on the TV that no one asked for. It was very bizarre. And now, of course, with the Switch, you've got the hybrid console. Yes, it's a home console, but it's also a portable system, so there's no more need for the Nintendo DS because you already have a portable console in your hand if you own a Switch, right? So, what they're essentially saying is with this next console, don't expect innovation. Nintendo is not going for that. They basically just want to make a new console that will run better games, but they're not looking to have 10 new things. It's not going to have a fucking gyroscopic spinning control. It's not going to be like, oh, it's the Nintendo Spin, where you stand on a disc and to play the games, you spin in place like a top and you swing your arms around wildly in the air to play and stuff like that. It's not going to have some dumb gimmick. It sounds like it's just going to be an improved console from the Switch. It'll be like the Switch, but better, okay? So the thing is, for me, like, okay, I get that, and maybe that's what Nintendo needs to start doing, is just focus on making their consoles better so that they could play better games, rather than worrying so much about having to innovate everything, right? Why do they always need to have some crazy innovation in their new console? And let's be honest, half the people don't use it. I've never used my Switch as a portable console. My wife did a few times playing Animal Crossing. I've literally never done it for that. I just use it for docked gaming for my streams. That's it. I don't need it for anything else. If I wanted the portability, maybe I should have bought the version that has that. Maybe it would have been cheaper if it didn't have the portability. But Nintendo doesn't care. They only sell one model and you pay more for it, right? So here's the thing. I would be happy if Nintendo put out a console that runs better and has better graphics, better storage, better everything, and doesn't care about gimmicks. If they released a gimmick-free console that's just no nonsense, here's the best innovative console because it runs the best games, then I would be happy. But Nintendo hasn't focused on that in so long. It's always about some dumb gimmick. So what's this next one going to be? Well, you know, I hope there's no gimmick. I hope these industry insiders are correct. I really don't care about these dumb gimmicks at this point. Okay? All right. And by the way, the rumor is the Switch 2 is coming in 2024. By the end of this year, it'll be out. I guess we'll see. Okay. New Game Pass games. All right? For the month coming up. Are you ready for this? Assassin's Creed Valhalla is in there. Resident Evil 2 Remake is in there. Resident Evil 2 Remake, to me, is still one of, if not the best, modern survival horror game. I couldn't believe how good of a job they actually did with Resident Evil 2 Remake, reimagining the Raccoon City Police Station, all the gameplay elements, the 2 different campaigns. The fact that that's on Game Pass is actually great, right? Like, that's a great one for Game Pass. If you haven't played it yet. But honestly, some of the other stuff, like We Happy Few, that game's not even finished. Like, they released it completely unfinished and full of bugs, and I never even finished playing it because it's such a boring game full of issues. So, there you go. PlayStation has inadvertently confirmed that a couple games that Konami is currently working on are actually coming out in 2024, even though Konami never even confirmed that. So what happened was PlayStation, on their official YouTube channel, released a trailer that was supposed to be like hype for 2024. Here's games coming this year. And 2 of the games that are featured in this trailer are the Silent Hill 2 remake and Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater remakes. It says right there, oh, they're coming this year. And people were like, but Konami didn't say they were coming this year. So I guess PlayStation inadvertently kind of spilled the beans that they're aware these games are in development to the point where they're coming this year and no one else knew. Oops. Well, I mean, that's good news. I would love to play this remake of Silent Hill 2, and yeah, I would love to play Metal Gear Solid 3's Snake Eater remake too. I think those are going to be great games, and I can't wait to get my hands on them, so that's good news for us. But a little confusing that they dropped the news, and they're not even supposed to be the outlet that drops the news. They're not even the ones making the games. You know what I'm saying? Oopsie. Lastly, are you ready for this? In the United States, are you ready for this? You can buy a Butterfinger bar, and you can secure a Final Fantasy VII Rebirth Ultimate Gaming Bundle. What's hilarious about this is there's always these weird tie-ins, right? You all will see a product tie-in, but up to now it's like Doritos or Monster Energy drink or something. Butterfinger? Why is Butterfinger have a tie-in contest with Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Like, what? How does that even apply? Do you know that there's not even candy bars in the game, right? When you think about it, like Final Fantasy 15 had the big, the ramen noodles tie-in. Remember that? It was the instant ramen noodles, but at least they were in the game, right? To my knowledge, there's no Butterfingers in Final Fantasy 7, but they're like, yeah, if you buy Butterfingers, Nestle Crunch, or Baby Ruth bars, you have a chance to win like an Ultimate Gaming bundle. And there's a big ad all over like the internet for it. And I just laughed my ass off seeing the ad. I'm like, dude, they're going back to their old ways. They used to do that shit all the time in the 90s too. These most nonsensical tie-ins, right? But then sometimes they get big. Like, remember in the 90s, the big thing was The Simpsons and Butterfinger. Now, literally, Butterfinger was never on The Simpsons. But they had Bart Simpson running around. Nobody better lay a finger on my Butterfinger. And then Homer was always trying to steal the Butterfinger from Bart. And it was the stupidest thing, but it got huge. Like, I remember all of those ads. I bought them. I bought the Butterfingers. In fact, at the time, I remember the Butterfinger would come with a map of Springfield. And it was the first time ever there was a paper map of Springfield where you could kind of see spatially the geography of the town and where all the things in the town were laid out in relation to each other. When you're watching the TV show, you don't have any spatial relation of the town. You have no idea. But it actually was like, whoa, that was cool. And it's just so weird to me that here we are, it's 2024, right? So it's like 30 years later, and they're still doing the weirdest promo tie-ins now with Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Listen, I have no problem with Butterfinger. Excuse me. I have no problem with Butterfinger. I have no problem with Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. In fact, I'm hyped for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I don't get the correlation. It doesn't, you know? It might as well be like, oh, I can't wait to play Tekken 8 and also, use Pennzoil motor oil. With Tekken character, if you buy Pennzoil motor oil for your car, perhaps you'll win the Ultimate Tekken 8 bundle. Like, huh? It wouldn't make any sense. It's kind of the same. Like, what are you talking about? But that's marketing, baby, right? That's where the money comes from. All right, well, there you go. That's the gaming news for this week so far, guys. Just want a few stories. I have to blow my nose. I feel like I'm about to sneeze, and then we're going to get into shout-outs. Crap. Okay. Cool. Butterfinger has weird texture when you bite into it. It is weird. When you buy it, it crunches, and then all of a sudden it immediately gets like sticky, and it sticks to your mouth and your teeth, right? It's like, dude, I thought it was crunchy and wafery, but then it immediately, I guess it's their saliva, turns it into like this glue. It tastes good. I like Butterfinger. I never thought Butterfinger tasted like peanut butter, though. I always thought it tasted like a sweet candy, which I like, but I never thought it actually ever said, oh, the crispity, crunchity, peanut buttery bite of Butterfinger. Peanut butter? I don't even think peanut butter when I think Butterfinger, right? Anyway, I don't know how we got into this discussion. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, let's get to some shout-outs. Let's get these rolling for today. We start off today with Pausen, who re-upped their membership for 23 months and said, Baldur's Gate 3 hype. Thank you to Pausen. I appreciate that. And thank you for supporting the channel for almost 2 years. You've almost earned your rose gold crown. Next month, you'll get it. And good to have you here, and I am hyped for Baldur's Gate 3 as well. Oracle Yuto became a member this morning. And I guess now is as good a time as ever to talk a little bit about our goals for today when it comes to support. As you guys know, I'm an independent creator. I don't have sponsorships. I don't have partnerships. I don't shill products. I don't play games for money. I don't have a paid product placement on this video. There's no giant blinking referral codes. This is how I make my living. When you guys crowdfund my content, that's literally how I support my family. All right? So if you like the content today, please support it in some way if you can. Some of the ways that would be great. Number one, I'd like to get us to 740 members. Today is a full day of stream, you know, between Baldur's Gate 3 and Street Fighter 6. That's good stuff, and hopefully people would consider becoming a member today to getting all those cool features. Or maybe you'd like to help out the community today and maybe give some memberships to your fellow viewer. It'd be a great day to do it. Good, it will be probably pretty good attendance all day, so please consider it, okay? The other thing would be tips. I always try to hit the tier 1 tips goal every single stream. If possible, we have tiered rewards for tips. Again, not that I was tracking this, but someone had mentioned this the other day that we're on a kind of a streak for Baldur's Gate 3, that we've actually hit the tips goals for Baldur's Gate 3 and had like a hat every Baldur's Gate stream so far. If we keep that momentum going, that would certainly be awesome. So thanks in advance to anyone who supports in any way. And let's get going. All right. Lil Shake and Bake actually just did the first super chat of the day. So thank you, Lil Shake and Bake. Let's get you up on the leaderboard here. Appreciate that. Oh, Shock and Bake. Shock and Bake. There's no E. There we go. Cool. All right. Swinging over. Oh, by the way, and I should bring this up as well. There have been issues with tip notifications. And what I mean by that is, for some reason, it's happening like once a day now. You guys support the stream, and I always shout out every contribution that comes in, whether it's a membership, gifted membership, super chat, or a tip. For some reason, I'm not getting all the notifications for tips. I don't know why. It's not me or my email address. It has to do with PayPal not sending out all the notifications. So every day now, I'm streaming, and all of a sudden someone will tip, and I don't know, and I don't shout it out. And then sometimes near the end of the stream, someone will be like, hey, Phil, you know, I don't want to be a pest, but you didn't shout out my contribution. Is everything okay? And I'd be like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. And then I go into my PayPal and I find this tip that just got missed because I didn't get the notification. And I'm really sorry about that. As you guys know, I appreciate every single contribution. This is how I'm able to make a living in 2024 doing the content that I love. I'm so appreciative of all of you who are constantly watching and checking out the content and supporting it in any way. And I'm sorry if I'm not getting around to shouting out your contributions right away because this is happening, okay? All I can really do is to try to figure this out, but I don't know what's causing it. So if you are contributing and you tip and you notice that after a while I'm not shouting it out, please let me know. Please tag me in chat and say, hey, Phil, please give it a look because, you know, I want to be sure, you know, that you got it. And I will. I promise you. I'm sorry about that. Just this happened the other night when we were playing Sea of Stars. Someone named August had tipped a couple of bucks. And it was a very nice tip with a positive message. And I didn't read it. And then after the fact, I just happened to be checking my PayPal. And I saw the tip. And I was like, man, I feel so bad. Really, I feel so damn bad because that was a nice tip and I didn't read it on the stream. So please let me know, all right? I want everyone to get credit, okay? Okay. By the way, Little Shake and Bake did another super chat saying, do you like left Twix or right Twix? I'm left and Lucifer's right. What I like to do, I take the two Twix and I break the top off the left and the bottom off the right and I jam them together like that and then I eat it. Or sometimes, I don't even know because what I do is I open it, I take the two Twix without looking, and I shove them up my nostrils, and I just snort them down. I don't even chew, I just snort it right down through my system, right down my esophagus. It's great. It's delicious. Anyway, let's continue. Our first tip of the day. A $2 tip from Nico. Good to see you, Phil. I hope that you have an amazing year. Thank you, Nico, the first tipper of the day. I appreciate that. And I hope that you also have a great year. I would say we're off to a pretty good start. The first week of the year was great, right? Now we're heading into the first full week of the year. We got great playthroughs going on. We got all these new initiatives going on. Everyone seems pretty excited. So it's good stuff. Okay. I got a $1 tip from someone saying, you know you can fake your age on YouTube, right? Of course. I've been talking about this forever. People have always faked their age on YouTube. Now, I don't know why anyone would lie and say that they're older than 65. I don't know what benefit that would give them. But in general, the point I'm making here is that YouTube, per its tracking methods, says that teens don't watch my stuff. That's not the case from back in the day. Back in the day, the majority of viewers on YouTube who were watching my stuff were teenagers. I used to read the demographics back in the day. It was like 60, 70% were teenagers. Now it's completely flipped. It's more people of, like I said, I think the biggest group was 25 to 34-year-olds. And then after that, it's like 35 to 44-year-olds. So you're talking people who have become adults and or young adults, or in some cases, even middle-aged. Those are the people watching my stuff on YouTube, not teens. Teens are going to all the hot streamers who play the viral games, who do all the methods like everybody else, you know, people with the million views and stuff like that. They're not coming to watch me. Why would a teenager want to watch my shit, right? Old Grandpa Moses here streaming with hair growing out of his ears and his balls dangling down to his kneecaps and gray beard, patchy beard, screaming at the clouds, right? Like when you come to my streams, hold on a second here. Did I lose? Oh, come on. Really? Oh, here we go. This is me on my stream. That's literally me. Look. Do you think teenagers watch? That's a teenager holding the clip. And he looks at the newspaper clip and says, who the fuck is this? And he throws it away. That's me. So, I don't know why you think teenagers will watch my stuff. They don't. Okay? Playcool says, hey, I'm almost 32 years old. I started watching you when I was 16. Should not be the only one. You grew with your audience, better or worse. Exactly right. A lot of my audience started young and then got older with me, and now we're all different people, but you're still here for the ride, and I really appreciate that. That's really awesome of you, so thank you for that. Okay. You thought iShowSpeed was the streamer with balls dangling down to his ear caps? What the hell is an ear cap? What is an ear cap? That's a new one. Anyway. Anyway, so that's what I got to shout out for now. If anyone wants to talk, tag me in chat. If any other contributions come in, I will shout them out. Okay? As they come in. Let's have a little bit of a chill session before we begin with Baldur's Gate 3 today, right? Oh, what's going on, Jade? How are you? He says, I'm going to see you tonight for Street Fighter. Sounds good. Honda tonight. I'm returning to E-Honda tonight in Street Fighter. We're going to see how it goes. I'm probably going to be rusty. So we'll see how that happens. But I haven't played with Honda in so many months. But the way I see it, this is the last hurrah for Street Fighter 6. Because once Tekken 8 comes out, that's going to be my focus for a bit for fighting games. So let's, like, play with every character who I was good with. So we've already done Blanca. We've already done Lily. So let's go to Honda. Maybe after that, we'll do Dalsim. And then maybe we'll just, like, rotate a bit. And then we'll get a good last rotation in, right? Honda, yuck. Yuck. You're detested by Honda? Why are you detested by E-Honda? Are you saying that in 2024, someone with the body type of E-Honda is not accepted publicly? Are you saying you're still prejudiced against him because he's a big boy? Wow. Wow. I'm actually, that's shocking. That's cancelable and objectionable thinking. So you better watch what you say and do it, you know, on the internet. People are going to come after you if you say stuff like that. Everyone knows that Honda, he's an example of health and good fortune to the world, right? He should be applauded and lauded for being that size. In reality, are sumo wrestlers healthy? I have no idea. Obviously I'm jesting here, right? Are sumo wrestlers actually healthy? I don't know. Are they considered healthy? Favorite Dark Souls game? Still the original. What do I think of Sea of Stars so far? I love it. Can I play Jamie for a bit? No. How about Geef, says Jade? Yeah, you know what? That might be a good point. Maybe I should go back to Zangief. I haven't used him in ages. So maybe I should do a session with Zangief at some point as well before the end of the month. Carlo says, hey man, I'm impressed with the Final Fantasy 13 re-uploads. I'm watching the second part as I got warning for the stream. Do you have an idea how many parts it will be? Well, we just did the math. I'm almost positive the original playthrough was around 200 parts-ish. And if you multiply and do the math, the original playthrough was probably around 35 hours long. So now if each part is a half an hour long, you're talking 60 plus parts. So that's what I mean. Like this could literally take like 2 months to upload the whole thing, if not more. So it's going to be a while. Any chance I'll give Fallout 4 another playthrough with graphical updates coming later this year? Yes. Andrea says, yes, sumo wrestlers are significantly healthier than untrained people of the same body weight. Right, because even though sumo wrestlers are large, they're athletes, right? Like, they literally are athletes. They are doing physical activity, and so I would think that things like cholesterol levels of their heart are probably healthy. It's just that they're able to maintain this massive girth for their sport and competition, but they're doing it in a healthier way, right? Yeah, look, Dabhan says, yes, all they eat is fish and rice. It's considered a healthy overweight. Wow. Interesting. Okay, I received a $20 tip. For 1 Minute Man, he says, if some of your companions learn the necromancy spell Animate the Dead, which they do, dead corpses will fight alongside you. Oh, wait, I don't have Animate the Dead. I have Talk to the Dead. That's right. He says, dead corpses can fight alongside you, and the documentary could possibly be very bad, especially if it contains anything from your personal life, past or present. Here's the thing about the documentary, all right? It's not really going to contain anything that I haven't spoken of. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've talked about my life so much over the 15 years I've been a creator. You know the stories. The difference is not only just hearing it from me, but having other people talk about it as well, but then getting my actual take on that stuff too. I think, don't worry, because I think what some people are worried about is like, this is going to be like a massive personal exposure and stuff, but I don't really think it's going to be like that. You know what I'm saying? I don't think so. This is not anything that there's not going to be any skeletons jumping out of the closet. Let's put it that way, okay? All the things in this documentary, if you're a big fan of mine, right, you probably already know them. But you might have only heard those stories from me. And I think that's kind of the point here is with the real documentary, is that you actually have the research done to show the situation, how it happened, have other people who were involved speaking as well, things like that, and then getting my takes. By the way, this document, again, it's hard for me to talk about. I don't want to spoil the whole thing because we have all good plans for this thing. Okay, we really do. Like, we have very interesting plans for what we're going to do with this. Okay, so there you go. But I understand your concern. I accept it. Basically, Mike and I are going to make sure that we're working together to tell the story properly. Yes, there's going to be positive and negative. Yes, there's going to be other people in the documentary saying their takes on me. But it's also going to be my opportunity to respond to all of them in one focused way where everyone will be able to find that. As opposed to right now, it's everyone on the internet shitting on me, but I just respond, if I even do, on my own channel, and no one hears the response, right? No one. This is going to be a lot different than that. Trust me. Again, with some of the ideas that we have. So, okay. You guys just relax. By the way, nothing is happening right now. Like, basically, this is in the planning phases for filming and things like that. As you can see, I'm still here. None of this is happening right now. We're basically in phases of planning and things like that. So, you don't have to go crazy right now. Like, it's not... I understand, like, it was a big announcement on Wednesday, and people weren't expecting that from me, especially because, as you know, I don't do interviews. I don't do these kind of things, right? And I told you, this one will be the end-all, be-all thing about me. After this, I have no plans to move on and do more documentaries, more interviews, or anything like that. This is just do the one, get it out there, right? That's the story. Enjoy it. And then I move on with my life doing my own stuff. Maybe it'll entice some people to come check out the stuff. Maybe it won't. But at least, you know, now the fair shake is out there. Because I never gotten a fair shake. We know that. I haven't. I have not been treated fairly by the internet at all. You never get to hear the real side. It's just always spinning it in a negative way for personal gain. And that's not what this is going to be about. That's not the point of the documentary. But it's also not kiss Phil's butt for an hour either. It's kind of in the middle. It's fair. It tells the story fairly. You get outside takes. You get my takes. And you're going to see that, I think. Okay? Well, again, I think what it is that you guys are worried that this is just going to be another negative detractor piece. It's not. Like, it's not. It's not. This is not going to be Turkey Tom dumping on me for 2.5 hours telling me how I didn't do things right in my whole career and I'm basically a loser, right? That's not what this is. This is, you know, have I made mistakes? Yes. But they're funny. We can explore them. We can talk about them. But then you can see how different things really are in reality from how these people try to spin it, right? By actually seeing me, my business, my streams, me, who I am today, how different I am than how I used to be and how I got here, right? So... All right. Anyway, that's that. I don't really want to talk about that all day. Let's continue here. So thank you very much, 1 Minute Man, for the $20 tip. I totally understand your concern, but I actually don't think that it's going to be a situation like you're thinking, but I understand why you think that. Again, when I literally have never had a fair shake before, right? And when everyone kind of has dumped on me collectively, to think that there's actually going to be something that's fair to me is, like, preposterous, right? It's preposterous. Jade says, what about Luke or Chun-Li? Probably not. I never really got into Luke heavily, nor did well with him. And Chun-Li, I couldn't play because of the stance changes, so I couldn't really do that well with her, so I don't think so. I think probably we'll have Honda tonight. We'll probably go back to Dalsim. Maybe I'll do, like, a little bit of Zangief, and then just alternate. But the thing is, we only got like 3 weeks left when you think about it. We got this week and maybe 2 more weeks, and then we're into Tekken. So there's not that much Street Fighter left before we get into Tekken. Okay. All right. Anything else you guys want to chat about? Any other topics? Please tag me in the chat. Dalsim is the most entertaining because no one can play with him. Yeah, I like him too. Like I said, when I first started playing Street Fighter 6 and I couldn't figure him out, I was disappointed because I liked the character, but I was just getting my ass handed to me over and over. Then when I finally figured him out, once I came back months later and I understood the gameplay mechanics, like the drive rush, right? How to properly use drive impact and drive reversal and his zoning techniques and his combo. Once I learned all of that, he's probably one of the most fun characters to use in the game. The problem is, it's very hard to play with him at a high level online. It just is. Like, he's the kind of character, if there's one mistake and someone's in your face, your whole round is over. It's like, what do I do now, right? But I like the character. Sarah, thank you. 11 months as a member. Thanks so much for the support. Says, I heard Mike's interview. I'm excited for the doc. Yeah, so basically, he wasn't even planning on doing an interview, Mike Klum. He was actually just happened to be, I think, calling Review Tech. Because he's going to have people who always talk about me on the internet are going to be in the documentary to give their takes on why they always talk about me on the internet, right? I think that's important. So he's going to be in an interview in the documentary for a part of it. He's not going to, it's not giant. It's just, you're going to see like a montage of different people talking about me in this documentary and me responding to it. So I guess he was just calling Review Tech to say, you know, confirm and everything. And Review Tech happened to be online on a stream and they did like a quick interview or something. It's fine, right? No problem with that. I've never seen a Seattle Mariners game, nor will I. I'm not into baseball. Have I thought about trying a game like Ready or Not in my rotation? I don't even know what that is. I don't know what that is at all. Never heard of it. Jade, I will see you tonight. Sounds good. I know you're not into Baldur's Gate. By the way, man, the sweater my wife bought me for Christmas, that cardigan, I love it. And I want to wear it again. But I was totally going to wear it today, and I realized, wait a minute, I'm playing Street Fighter tonight. I was like, when I play Street Fighter, already my adrenaline is high, my blood pressure goes up. I probably shouldn't be wearing a heavy cardigan sweater when I'm playing Street Fighter. It's probably a bad idea. So I said, I'll wait for a more chill day. Maybe I'll wear it tomorrow, right? And also, it has to be a day when it's cloudy. It is today. It's cloudy and rainy, so that in that regard, it would have been perfect. But I was like, ugh. Huh? I must not want to talk about the quartering for some reason. No? Who said that? No, I think the quartering with the interview that he did with me was completely fair and fun, but it didn't touch upon subjects people want to discuss, so all the people were disappointed and crapping all over it. But again, these are people who are assholes, and all they wish is bad things for me. So because I did an interview with the quartering that was fair, and he treated me well, they hated it, right? Which is why he doesn't talk about me anymore, because he probably got so much shit for it, for being fair to me. Like, why would you treat Phil fairly, right? Oh, yeah, you know, because he wasn't an asshole, right? That's what I mean, like, but the thing is, I guess people didn't want that out of the interview. They were looking for things way more dramatic and annoying, essentially. So it is what it is. Play Cool says, I felt sports is too big of a priority for a lot of people. For some people, it's all that matters to them to discuss with others. For us Europeans, it's football. I can't really care about it. When I was growing up, sports were huge, and I had friends who were like that. Like one kid I knew who's so into the freaking San Francisco 49ers. He had a giant 49ers coat, and he constantly was talking about the Joe Montana and stuff like that, right? And I'm like, you know, was I into sports? Yeah, I was into baseball. I was in like the Mets, the New York Mets baseball at one point. And then when in the 2000s, all my friends were into American football. So I watched a few seasons there when it was the Manning brothers who were like, you know, one was on the Colts and one was on the Giants. And it was exciting to see how well they were doing and stuff like that. That was pretty neat. But to me, it's always been, okay, it's there. If I'm interested in it, it's always there. But I've never really gotten into it. You know what I mean? Like, so you're right. Some people say everything about them is sports. Out here, we have so many sports teams. We have the Seattle Mariners. We have the Seattle Seahawks. Now we have the Kraken, which is, I guess, the hockey team. And I think we have something else, too. We have, like so much sports. And we have a giant arena in downtown Seattle for it and everything. And you constantly, around football time, you see everyone wearing the jerseys. The Seahawks jerseys. They're all wearing them everywhere. It's like, I don't know. I think it's fine. I have no problem with sports. You know what I mean? I've just never been a crazy fanatic for sports. I don't know. I guess that's your thing. That's your thing. Kind of like if video games is your thing. I guess if sports is your thing and you're so into fucking sports and that's what you talk about constantly. You're watching ESPN. You know all the commentators. You know all the players. You own the jersey. You own the helmet. You own the underwear. There's sheets on your bed or of the fucking team. You got plaques in your house of signed memorabilia. You eat the fucking food. You drink the beer. Right? You watch them with your friends. You gamble with your friends on the games. You go online. You waste all your money on the online betting on the fucking games, right? It's extreme. There you go. Ready or Not is a police SWAT-style game. You can arrest rather than kill the foe. It makes for an interesting approach to an FPS than, say, Call of Duty. Anyway, enjoy your game today. Oh, I've never even heard of it. Ready or Not. Seattle Sounders as well. So they're the football/soccer team. So you have to understand that in America we say football, but football means American football. And if we say soccer, that means worldwide football. We just name it completely differently for some reason because we're weirdos. Okay. Yes, the Sounders are real. The Seattle Sounders. Correct. They are a real football, soccer team, whatever you want to say. They're real. I have no idea if they're any good. I don't follow that. But they are real. I've heard the name. I've seen it all over the place. Bookworm says, a hot beer and a cold stadium hot dog. America. Yes. Nothing like that delicious piping hot beer and a nice cold hot dog that's probably been on the floor for several hours and was scooped up and tossed on a bun. Yummy. Brits who invented football came up with the name soccer from the association football. Oh, why did they come up with that name? That's weird. Timbers are better, Phil? What's timbers? Helixification. What are you talking about? What is a timber? Timber! That's the only timber I know. You yell it when a... Why do you yell timber when you knock over a tree? Besides, is that a way to tell people to get out of the way? Now I'm really confused. In the USA, there are a total of 153 Major League Sports franchises. Oh, the Timbers are a Portland soccer team. Oh, I certainly didn't know that. I don't know anything about that. I said, I don't follow that stuff, so when you reference that, it goes right over my head. It's like saying 4 in golf. Oh, okay. Okay. You got to get people out of the way. You're making timber out of the wood. What if you're not making timber out of the wood, though? Whoa, JDTV says, I bought Spider-Man 2 3 days ago. I've almost 100%ed it already, going for the platinum. Damn, you're playing a lot of it then, because it's a long game. That's a lot of content, man. Playcool says, must be hard for Americans to decorate with all these different teams. I don't particularly know of an American who's into all sports. Like, it seems like everyone has their one. Like, whether it's American football or soccer or hockey or baseball or the NBA. You know what I mean? Like, everyone's into one. But I don't know anyone who's like, I am Mr. Sports, and I follow every sport, and so I'm a fan of 12 different teams, one for each major sport. I don't know anyone like that. I think everyone who I've ever known who was into sports was always into, like, one sport, and that was their sport, right? No one is the Bo Jackson of sports fandom. No. No one would even understand that reference in 2024. Anyone even know who Bo Jackson was? Probably not, right? Didn't Bo Jackson play 3 different sports? I know he did baseball and American football. I think he might have done another one, too. And he was good at all of them. Everyone knows who Bo Jackson is. They do. Because most people don't know those 90s references anymore, right? He was huge in the 90s, and after that, when he stopped playing, like, no one remembers him anymore. Plus, he's not in the public eye anymore. What a rare guy who, like, he had his time in the spotlight, and then he just went off to have a private life, right? Like, I don't know anything about Bo Jackson anymore. Chat's a bunch of old men, so we know. There you go. It's all good. JDTV says, I usually watch or listen to your podcast when I'm doing something else like gaming. He has the platinum addiction now. He can't stop playing the game. Wow. Nick, if you can answer this question for me, I'll answer yours. His question is, do you like mango ice cream? Why would you ask me that question randomly? I'm just curious. Like, why would you ask me if I like mango ice cream randomly on my podcast? What does it have to do with anything? If you can answer that question, then I'll answer it for you. There you go. I always wonder when people ask me a weird question. Where did it come from? Would I consider wearing a sweater vest? What do you mean? Like a sweater, like a vest, but it's a sweater that zips up? Well, that's what the cardigan is, right? But I guess it's not a vest because it has arms, right? Okay, Nick says he's eating mango ice cream right now. Okay, I've never had mango ice cream, so I can't answer that. Maybe I would like it, maybe I wouldn't. I think mangoes are tasty, but I've never had the ice cream, so I can't answer that. There you go. Kagome says, I can't wait to play Last of Us Remastered for $10 soon. Whoa, 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 whoa. Last of Us 2 Remastered. Last of Us 1 is still like $100, isn't it? Like $700 or something like that to play it. To play exactly the same game as the original Last of Us, just with minor graphical tweaks. Still like $1,800 or something like that. But it's Last of Us 2 Remastered. That's a $10 upgrade. You got to get them right. We got to get everything accurate here on the show. Part 2 will have a $10 upgrade. Part 1 is about $2,000, $3,000. Ugh. All right. Any last minute stuff, guys? Or shall we adjourn the show and get ready for the game? It's up to you. Quick last chance. If anyone has something to toss in or say. If not, then I feel that we will get to the game. $672 says he has something to tell me. Well, it's going to have to wait. It's too late. You waited too long. If you have something to tell me, you should have told me earlier. We have to end this podcast. We can't be on here all day just to hear what you have to say, you know. You got to speak up when the time is right. You know what they say? It's all about timing. Life is all about timing. Your timing is off. All right. So, let us continue. And let's actually adjourn. Oh, hold on. Did I get the new art? I want to see if the new art is in the rotation here. Hold on. Give me a second here because I swear I added it, but I don't know if it's in here or not. Let's see. Yeah, there it is. Thank you all for a great podcast, a great start to the week. I hope you will check out DSP Throwback, and I hope that you guys will enjoy the new stuff. Give me your feedback. Let me know what you think. I'm very curious to hear your thoughts on everything. And thank you for watching. Thanks for chilling. Great week of content coming up here, which I'm very excited for, to relax and enjoy video games with all of you. So I hope that you agree with me. If not, let me know. Feedback is key when I'm working on all these different things, okay? Feedback is very important to me. So I'd like all of you to give me your feedback in any way, shape, or form. Even if it's something that, you know, you don't agree with something I'm doing, or you got a suggestion to do a improvement, right? I want that feedback. Please give it to me. And thank you in advance to everyone who does, all right? So thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed the show. Tomorrow, I'm sure we'll be talking about any progress I made in today's games and everything else right here on the Level 1 podcast. Thank you all, everyone. See you tomorrow.